Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rekach, Badash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone, teaching this truth time and time again. So as be men of the Lord, the Wadi Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rekach, Badash. Oh, glory, the Wadi Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai. And I'm the brother Thought Hawan. Been busy this weekend, but it was an article that was doing what is suspected and what's going on, and everyone that has bought eggs have seen what's going on. The prices of food, especially now, are skyrocketing, like 3 times the cost of eggs right now, which is kind of crazy. Because if you don't know how like eggs are and how like farming is, when like certain diseases hit, like because it's the avian flu right now, but when certain diseases hit farming, they make your whole farm, they make you kill every single one of those chickens, because like avian flus and diseases, when it comes to chickens, they'll kill the whole farm anyway. You just wake up one morning, everything's dead, but then the disease is still in the farm. And the next in farm, so how they stop it is they kill everyone in a certain distance of, if you're found with that disease, and then everything around it, the same block, they just kill them all. And having animal production, it's even difficult. It's not biodegradable. What is it called? Like it's barely always quarantined, because you can't even just go into a farm. You have to put different clothes on. Disease, they just take everything out. So this is article, Newsflix app, the ABC News. Egg prices reach record high amid avian flu outbreak. Fans of 3-egg omelets and bacon, which is unclean, eggs and cheese sandwiches have more to worry about than just high cholesterol. The wholesale price of a dozen eggs are more than quadrupled year over year, and some experts warn the prices are unlikely to decrease anytime soon. Triple. Egg prices peak during the holiday season, hurting small grocery chains that cannot compete with those large chains, leading the price to increase for restaurants and other small businesses. Experts saying, everything's connected. But eggs are used in a lot of leavened bread, like bread that you need flour and certain stuff so it can stick together. That's why a lot of those vegan, if you ever look at the vegan things, they tend not to stick together, because the flour usually need egg to stick together. And they have unleavened bread and stuff, but then cakes, a lot, most breads that require flour, even like just small stuff like stir fry or certain situations, pancakes, French toast, all those things which are needed. So all restaurants and other small businesses, the price and age come as the cost of most food has increased significantly, putting a strain on a grocery store shopper and small businesses alike. I've been here for 50 years, and I have never seen anything like that with control of prices, maybe with Carter in the 70s, Gus, and the owner of Manhattan West High restaurants. We're going to keep getting it, keep increasing these prices, because the supply is falling. For items like eggs, meat, plant protein, such the wholesale trade value for a dozen Midwest large eggs at 89 cents, which is when I was a farmer. I lived in Iowa. when you would go to Walmart, you can get a dozen eggs for like 12 cents. So that's a huge increase. I mean, after that's not even between that's Walmart to customer. So the wholesale price is even low, and they're saying the overall price is 89 cents. That's insane. That's really insane on how it is and how farming is like a chicken. If you keep it at the right temperature, because when it's cold temperatures, they have to be around like 90 degrees in there for them to lay eggs, and they only lay one egg a day. So it tends to be strenuous. The price for a dozen eggs skyrocket, according to Kara Rispiley, the editor of Urban Bear Egg Price Current, price beats the previous record high, which is $3.09. So look at that. The increase of these eggs it's getting out of control. Some precepts what the Lord will say. Because now people are gonna start rationing. People are gonna start getting violent because of the lack of the food thereof. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. So, eat bread by weight. You know, you're gonna see the more eggs increase, which is kind of suspect because the chicken the prices haven't increased very much. So these are controlled. These are also trying to be controlled. Famines control everything, but they're gonna get you used to rationing to understand these systems of the CB central banking system, the central banking system, which is central digital banking, which they're gonna try to use the carbon tax. It's like, oh yeah, so ration you only have a certain amount, and then that's when you're gonna eat it with care. You're like, oh, as soon as you have a piece, you can only be able to eat a certain amount, only have a certain amount of carbon, and shall drink it by measure and with astonishment. And that they may want bread and water, but astonish one another and consume away from their iniquity. Slovakia, bro. No rational scripture. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts and a measure of wheat. I'm going to start up. This is a third seal, famine, which is judgment. And when he heard the opening of the third seal, and he heard the third beast saying, Come and see, and behold, lo, a black horse. And he sat on him a pair of balances in his hand. And he heard a voice in the midst, and be a judgment, like or death. And he heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts, in the midst of the four beasts, saying, A measure of wheat for a penny. And if you go into that penny, it's a denarian, which is a day's wage for wheat. And if we know properly use wheat of what Babylonians do, because you can use it in other ways, you know. But most of the time, when you use bread, you use eggs. But a day's for a loaf of bread, for leavened bread, unleavened bread, so it'll be a day's wage of barley, uh, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And seeing that you hurt the oil and the wine, that's truth. So that's what's the rationing is gonna. The more prices is, the more like the budgets are gonna get tighter and tighter. Then it's gonna be all that people are not even gonna buy eggs or buy certain foods because the prices and what it's gonna cost. And then it's gonna just go with every item ever since. And that's a horrible start with the eggs because that is like a fundamental of Babylonian diets and breakfast is eggs. Almost you can see almost every single meal Babylonians, these so-called Americans, eat with breakfast. Pretty much is settled with eggs. All these sweets they like, all of them are eggs are needed. So driving the price of almost every bakery, almost everything. Yeah. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So one sees when it gets to it that once a certain price hits, once the margins start getting higher and higher, only big industrial farms, which that are not likely to happen, because especially in chicken farming, you really don't want it to be too big, and you want them far away from apart, because you know how products is, because you can have a humongous industrial farm, and one chicken has this disease. The likelihood of it that all of them are going to get it, so the more likely that you're just going to have to execute all of them. But they have the capital to do that. But these small farmers, it's times that chicken farmers usually don't make money in like 6 months to years. But when they do, I had a friend. He was a chicken farmer, and they were making like $250,000 a month because every other farm around them, because they're in a different location, had the disease. So it's going to cause even more separation. Then it's once it hits a certain margin, they're just stop dealing with it because it's going to be too expensive. And then that's when you're seeing the stores shall suddenly be found empty, and the triumph shall give a sound which every man shall hear, and shall be suddenly afraid. And at that time shall friends fight one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with the dwelling therein, and the springs of the fountains shall stand still, and the 3 hours they shall not run. So when food it is, then the systems and the infrastructures will start breaking down because people, when they don't eat, they get mad. They're not going to work all day and all that stuff to buy nothing. A day's wage when it just starts being bread. Then what are all those people that? Because a lot of, especially the younger generation, has to be get all these medicines and always be drugged up and all that sound. And again, that word grievously, looked it up before my lesson. Mahalah, 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 unfaithful, treacherous acts, treacherous against God. When they, with their unfaithful, they trespass against the Lord. Their unfaithfulness. Then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. And that's what's getting. That's where the prices of chicken's getting, because the beasts are cut off, and famine is on the rise. One certain, because it's even the animals are even getting. They're not doing anything, but they're getting touched too, because of this land is defiled of of these people. The whole land is defiled. But this was what the Lord said. Man, He was just going to say the prophets. The prophets came and they showed them. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that God shall bring upon it. And I found so the Lord is just destroying Egypt, what's modern day Egypt, all around from the foundation of it. They shall till the ground and shall mourn, for the seed shall fail, and through the blasting in hell with a fearful consolation. All these storms, all these things are coming in California, which is also not very helpful. And then all these certain situations that are happening, all food. And when it rains like this too much, it floods all. It floods the gardens. It floods if you have certain aspects of a tree, like the small garden things like strawberries. It's not a time of farming right now. It's probably going to be, but it floods the dirt, and it causes everything that is in the ground to get a rot if it is in the ground. But not really, nothing right now because it's December. But the Lord is judging this place with all matters of evil. So just a quick hit right here, just going on in that article. So with that, I want to give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakadash, the water Yah, Bashim Yahushai, and Shalom.